Oh, shoot. I'm live, I guess. Am I live, guys? Oh, yes, I am. I'm sorry about that. I didn't know I was live yet. Oh, oh, forgive me. Uh, who all we got here? Oh, yeah, I guess I've been live for a few minutes. Seven Pearls. Fletch, we got Susan, and Jimmy. Jimmy FSU. There's Miss Sharon. It's good to see everyone. Still crazy, Chris. How are you doing? Bigfoot Mama. See, I'm trying not to mess the screen up. I did last time. Hey, Deborah. Deborah made it. Meredith, of course. Boots on the ground with Barb. It's good to see everybody. Miss Ruth. God bless you. Thank you guys for jumping over. Excuse me. I wasn't going to go live tonight, but I had a pretty rough day and I couldn't sleep. Normally I go to bed in the 8 o'clock range, and it ain't happening tonight. I cannot get settled down. There's Brother Jeff and Tammy. Hello from Columbus, Georgia. Well, hello there, Tammy. You're not too far off from my brother Jeff. God bless everyone. Thank you so much for jumping over. Uh, hope everyone's doing good tonight and doing fine and super fine and all the above. I could have done this inside tonight, but it's so pretty out. You can hear the crickets and the bullfrogs singing, and off in the distance. I thought y'all'd see it on screen, but we got a lightning show back there to the east of us. Ida Bustamante. Hello, hello. Good to see you. Northern Illinois Sasquatch researchers. Edget. Who else? Did I miss anybody? I hope not. It's good to see everybody. It's always wonderful to see you guys. Certainly makes my day. We had a pretty long day today. There's Francesca. It's good to see you. Yeah, yeah. If I hadn't, I was unsure if I was going to do a show. Normally, I go to bed, and between 8 and 8:30 is my average bedtime. But today, I literally just got finished up with everything that had to be done about 30 minutes ago, and I'm so wound up. There's no sleeping for me anytime soon. So I figured I'd jump on and say hello to everyone. And there's our sister Carla. It's good to see you. And of course, Fletch. Well, it's so good to see you guys. Guys and gals. Absolutely. Did any of y'all see that picture I posted on the community tab? Our sister Sandra. Good to see you. I went yesterday to check the game cameras. And I got to the very first camera. The whole area is flooded. I pulled the memory card out and I plugged in my card reader into my phone. Jody Phoebus, how are you doing? Hope I pronounced that correctly. Yeah. I don't know what that critter was, but what happened is I was trying to plug the memory card into my card reader. I dropped it, and the water was about knee deep, and it sank to the bottom, and I had to get it out of the water. Well, I shook it off and blew the water out of it, and I stuck it in the memory card reader, and then I got an error that my port was wet, and I couldn't retrieve none of the pictures. And I went to the next two cameras, and the same thing. It wouldn't read no more. And so I just brought the cameras home. And I got here and offloaded the pictures, and we had a ton of pigs, pictures of them. We had over 1,200 on one camera, and quite a few deer. And then had a couple of odd pictures, and that little, I don't know what it was. Zoomed in on it. I played with the colors. I lightened it up. And some people are seeing a pig in it. Some people are seeing a goat, a cat, a coyote, a fox, a wolf. But what throws me off is the size of it. Where it's standing puts it in the neighborhood of 10 inches high at the back, between 10 to 11 inches. Very small animal, whatever it is. The tail is too short to be a regular cat, but it's too long to be a bobcat or a pig. It's got a head that resembles a cat, but it's got ears like a goat. I have no idea what it is. I wish it were a better picture, but unfortunately it's not. But I'm going back up there probably tomorrow, and I do have one good game camera that puts out exceptional pictures and videos. It's got a really good camera on it. I'm afraid to use it. It took me a long time. I actually got it through a layaway plan at a sporting goods store, and it took me about 9 months to get it out. I wasn't making big payments on it, just what I could. And it's, I couldn't replace it. If somebody steals it, there's no way I'd be able to replace it. It's way out of my price range. And I was very blessed to be able to get it the way that I did. But I'm going to take it over there. Chris and I both have cameras up, along with several other members of the lease, and nobody has caught anybody trespassing at all anywhere on the lease. And so I think I'm comfortable enough. I'm going to take that camera out there, and I won't have to worry with it being stolen. But if we can catch that little creature on that camera, the picture will be clear enough and crisp enough that we'll be able to identify whatever that animal was. I don't have a clue. I've never seen nothing like that. And it is just a very bizarre creature, whatever it is. It looks like it's mixed between a goat, a pig, and a cat, but I don't know. I have no idea. That area, there's some strange things, strange sounds. Yesterday, when I was coming out of there, I had a really good walk to the cameras, checking on the trap and everything else. And on the way out, I was on the main road. I wasn't in the thicket where the cameras were located. And being on the main road, I got to a certain area, and I felt there were eyes on me from all sides. And it scared me. It was so intense. And I was filming. I filmed the entire walk. Oh, big roach. Oh, get off there. I'm sorry. Big cockroach about to get on me. But I did film that entire walk. I don't know if I'm going to upload the video or not. I do a lot of filming that you guys don't ever see. I don't use all the video, but even when I'm out back working, I'm normally filming. It's just something I've always done. And out of every 60 or 70 hours of video, you guys may see 2 hours of it. I don't post everything. It's just something I do. Like some people are hoarders. It's just what they do. I've always filmed. I'm not good at it, but it's just what I like doing. I thought I just seen Nancy in there. Oh, there she is. Hi, Nancy. Good to see you. I thought I seen your name come up. Sharon, what was on it? The back end looked like there's something back there. Yeah, on that what Sharon's referring to on the. Let me put that up before it passes, where you guys can see. She's referring to that picture that I posted, and Brother Jeff, I just talked to him about an hour ago, a little less than an hour ago, about that picture, and he's seen something too. There's something in the bushes there, and I wish the picture were clear, but it looks like a face, and what you can make out 2 eyes. looking at it, whatever it was, that little creature was. But I really don't know. The picture's not clear enough. It could be pareidolia. I really don't know. Oh, Jody, thank you so much. We absolutely love you as well. We love all of you guys. Gene Hudson, there you are. I knew Gene would be here. What are you doing, Roscoe? I'm hoping he doesn't push. I got a kennel right here beside me, and that's where I got my light. Put my light up on the top of it so it's not glaring on the screen. And Roscoe's acting like he's fixing to push it. I hope he doesn't. I got the camera, everything's set up right here, and I don't want him to knock it off. Oh, he's laying down. Good deal. Oh, thank you, Gene. I do want to give you guys an update on Wayne, Kim's father, my father-in-law. I did speak to him this morning. He's doing better mentally. He's not out there and just repeating odd words. You can actually carry on a conversation with him, and that's a huge blessing. But he's not able to pass urine on his own, and so the doctor ordered a catheter again. Last week, he had the same issue, and his nurse, who stays with him, called it and contacted the doctor. He hadn't relieved himself in 3 days, and the doctor ordered a catheter, and they pulled 3,000 cc's of urine off of him at one time, and everything just tumbled when that happened, and he ended up hospitalized in the ICU. They moved him out of the ICU, and this afternoon they transported him to another hospital, and he's not as high up on the critical list. They've moved him down some, which is a blessing, but he's having a hard time. The fight's not over. I'm hoping that it isn't his time, but in my spirit, I feel that's exactly what's going on. And Kim and I are very open to each other. We don't sugarcoat anything. To sugarcoat something, especially something like this, to try to get our hopes up. He's not going to pass. He's not going to pass. And then he passes. It's a bad feeling for me if I'm the one doing the sugarcoating, and then it turns into a shock for the other person. And so we're very point blank with each other. And I told him my feelings on it. I do believe it's his time to go. And we are preparing for that. If he doesn't, that would be just a blessing in itself. Hallelujah. But it's all in God's will. Whatever God's will is, we are okay with it. We may not like it, but we are okay with it. We've got so many people, you guys sending prayers for us. We got people all over the country. Our brother Kyle, he's got his church and his church family, and all of his friends praying for him. And we've got a huge, just a tremendous support group for Wayne, and I'm so thankful for that. Northern Michigan Bigfoot, it's good to see you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank all of you for the prayers. What an absolute blessing it is to be here with you all. So I've seen Meredith had asked something. Did Chris get the pig on the video when it had ripped the bucket from you? I don't know, Meredith. I didn't ask him. I only talked to him for a minute today. He's been busy testing. He's trying to get an upgraded license. Chris is a workaholic. He works 7 days a week and just incredible hours, insane hours. But it's what he does. Chris is a go-getter. Ruth, the picture is, if you'll go to our channel, Standing Goats Rescue on YouTube, and it's under the community tab. I posted it there. I don't know how else to post it anywhere else. I know very little about the operations of YouTube, and there's something I do want to run by you guys before we're over tonight. Oh, Nancy, the doctor's appointment went It went good. It went really good. I am where I'm supposed to be. And for you guys that don't know, each month I have to go to the doctor. When I broke my neck, I had a lot of issues, and they had to do emergency surgery on my neck, and I lost a vertebrae, and I got a lot of hardware. They went in through the front. During the surgery, the surgeon cut the nerves, the nerve map or something that goes to the frontal lobes of my brain, and I ended up with a 12% brain injury due to the surgeon made a bad cut. And so I have to see a doctor every month to make sure there's no progression, nothing's getting worse. I don't show any signs of dementia or Alzheimer's or anything of that sort. And everything's been wonderful. I don't have any issues. I'm better now than I was a year ago today. God's been really good to us. Brother Paul, it's good to see you. Paul made it. And I thought I seen somebody else hop in here. Northern Michigan Bigfoot. Hallelujah. There's Sandy, Sasquatch Girl. Glad you made it. If I missed any of you guys, please forgive me. I thought I seen Bama Bigfoot in there. Oh, yep, sure did. Bama Bigfoot. Oh, what an awesome night. We got our family here. Absolutely. What a wonderful thing. Um, Denise said she's here just busy cooking, so I'm listening. Yeah, we're absolutely glad to see you as well. Absolutely. It's such a blessing to see you guys. It's always just beyond um, amazing. You know, it gets so busy around here and everything we're dealing with. We have one little goat, not a baby. She is an older goat, but she is a miniature, little bitty one. And it's been a fight with her. We've got her by herself. I got her in the laundry room, actually, trying to, it seems as though her rumen is trying to shut down. And as of today, now she's showing signs of pneumonia. And I can treat her with antibiotics and the medications, which I've been doing, but I cannot treat her with the penicillin. I've got a hyper allergy to penicillin. If it's on the outside of the bottle and I get it on my fingers, my hands swell up like a balloon. I have a really insane reaction to it, and so I don't touch it at all. And Kim won't be back from Central Florida until Saturday. And so I'm just pumping her full of SNZ and a couple other medications to try to keep her going until Kim gets here, which she can do the penicillin treatments on her. I got bugs flying all over me. They're drawn to this light and the light coming off the screen, but it's so pretty out right now. M Tattle, it's good to see you. Absolutely. Hope I didn't miss anybody. Are y'all hearing anything? I don't want to say what I'm hearing and feed somebody to think that they're hearing something that they're not. But are you guys hearing anything in the background? Yeah, Sandy, I've lost about 16 pounds in the last week. I've been going nonstop. I'm kind of overwhelmed. A little on the stress side. We're in a rough spot right at the moment, and then Kim's father falling ill is my body reacts really harsh to my environment. If I go through depression, I stop eating altogether, and I've always been that way. It's just how my body is. God designed me this way, and it's the only way I know. But I'm all right. But thank you so much for checking. Absolutely, thank you. Oh, there's Michael. Well, I thought I seen him. Yep, there he is. Michael Bishop. Good to see you, Mike. Thank you so much for jumping over. Yep, Sandy's definitely allergic to penicillin. We have a lot of people here, part of our family, right here at Standing Goats, and there's so many of them that have a severe allergy to penicillin. It's crazy. I never knew there were that many. A couple of years ago, we were doing a live stream out in one of the areas that I was hiking in, and it was somebody brought it up in the chat, and so many people responded to the insane allergies they were having to it, and so I'm not the only one. Oh, absolutely, Meredith. I'm gonna try to stay on top of the questions. I can't read as good as you may think. I don't read much. I've read, I think, 2 books in my entire life. I'm not a reader. I can read, but it's my entire. Since I was a teenager, I was into health, studying my health. I really wanted to stay on top. Yes, Sandy, that's exactly what I heard, and that's confirmation that I wasn't imagining it. Uh, I keep hearing knocking off. This is north on my screen. It shows I'm pointing to the left, but I'm actually pointing to the right. And twice I heard what sounded like knocking, and I heard I don't know if it was coughing or if it was one of the goats. And I shined the light. It was right. I didn't know that the live stream had started, and I heard it. It sounded like coughing. It was back to the north, but it's a little bit back behind us. And so I shined the light around, looking to see if one of the goats were over there. And all the goats are on this side of me and directly behind me, with the exception of 4 of them that are underneath the little box house where I'm standing. Oh, hey, Mindy. Mindy's made it. Please pray for all the girls from the Alabama Sheriff's Girls Ranch. There were 8 that passed away in a horrific multi-vehicle wreck on I-65 in Alabama this past weekend. Yes, if you guys didn't know about that, the storm that went up through Alabama, uh, all them kids were, I think it was a van they were in, but there was a multi-vehicle pileup, and several people lost their lives, but the majority of them were children that were in that van. And it was a program for the children that have problems. Some of them were misplaced children. Some of them, um, they were in between foster homes. It was kids that really needed help. And the sheriff's department was doing everything they can to help these children. And they got in an accident. And I believe it was 8 of them that passed away. But we know where the children go. So there's no doubt they're in the hands of the Lord right now. But God bless their families. It's got to be hard. I lost a son a few years ago, and I don't wish that on nobody. It is so hard. So very hard. uh, I am still hearing stuff over there. Guys, I'm sorry, I'm not ignoring you. You know, when you hear something in a wooded area, you start feeling like there's something over there staring at you. And I know there's not anything. I'm just psyching myself up, but there is something over. There's no goats over there at all. There's no eye shine. There's nothing there, which I can't see into the woods, but maybe 10 feet. I don't think it's, I believe it's just an animal, because all the frogs are still singing over there, and the crickets, and it just got me now to where I'm hearing every little uh, bug, and every little tick over there is drawing my attention. What I was wanting to run by you guys, we are, Kim and I have been talking, and the way this past year and this year has been on us, we have been um, almost to the point of devastated. The vet bills have been insane, and we haven't had any vet visits lately. Thank God, we've had a break from that, but we're not caught up from everything that we went through the last 2 months. It's been one of the hardest years that we've had. Last year, we were way in the thousands in vet bills, and we're still paying on them. I think right now the balance is around $2,700, and I'm paying $100 a month on it, and it will get paid off eventually. But it was just the roughest year we've ever had, and this year it's been nonstop. We had the two tornadoes. We had a lot of damage from that. The entire back fence got torn up. It's been one thing after the other. And so Kim and I have been talking and trying to figure out a way that I can bring in an income to, because it wouldn't take much to where we could slowly get back on top again. And I am not monetizing the channel. But my daughter, I talked to her yesterday, and she was suggesting starting a second channel and monetizing that one, and keep this one the way that it is, and this one won't change, but use the second channel, um, set it up like a business where I can monetize it and get some type of income. I won't be selling stuff on it. I don't believe in that, where people are monetizing Sasquatch, and they're selling everything they can get their hands on that has the word Bigfoot or Sasquatch on it. And I don't feel right about that. No, Sandy, I'm not shining the light low to the ground. I'm actually shining it just a few feet above the ground. I'm expecting to see eye shine. I didn't think about something crawling on his belly over there. Hey, buddy. I got the ducks up here by my feet now. Thank you, Nancy. But if I do end up setting up the second channel, I've gotta do it in a way that the taxes, everything's paid on it, but it's not paid through my tax number or social security number, because of how they've got me listed. Social Security Administration, they won't allow me to make anything, and it's a shame. I know I can't work full time, but I can absolutely do part time, and they won't allow it. Workers' comp has put me on a blacklist, and if I get a job, the person who hires me will be charged with a crime as well as me, because workers' comp will not insure me. I didn't sue. I've never had but one claim, and that was when I broke my neck. It was faulty equipment on the job that I reported 3 times. After the third time, the same piece of equipment came by, and it grabbed me, it destroyed my shoulder, and it broke my neck. And all I wanted was for them to cover the surgery and get my job back. They didn't want to cover the surgery. I paid for the therapy. I paid for the majority of the doctor's visits, and I had to take them to court because I couldn't afford a $280,000 doctor bill for the surgery. And they did pay it. But I did not sue them, even though the judge and my attorney were pushing for it. I don't believe in that, because the lawsuit would have fell on the owner of the company, and he had no part in the manager not pulling the faulty equipment. The owner wasn't at fault for that, and he would have been the one punished. He would have been the one that had to pay, and I don't believe in that. It's not right, and so I didn't sue. But I didn't know that they would never allow me to work again either, and they kind of got me in a pickle. But we're going to get it set up. It's looking, I would say, probably in the upper 80% that I will be setting up a secondary channel. It sounded like somebody popping. Yeah, you pop your teeth and make that popping sound, that clicking sound. It's too far for anything to do that. That's what it was, a ticking that I was hearing that time. But anyhow, good night, Sandra. You guys going to bed? Good night. Good to see you. Thank you for stopping by for a few minutes. But if and when I decide to do that, do a secondary channel, I'm going to we'll do a live show or a video or something to let you guys know. And I'd greatly appreciate it if y'all would jump over there and subscribe to it. You don't have to follow me on the channel, but just to where I can get, you got to have 1,000 subscribers to monetize your channel. And they've got me here. I keep getting emails since I have not monetized it, and I'm not going to monetize this one. YouTube is telling me that they're going to start putting commercials in my videos, and there's nothing I can do about it, and I will not be getting paid for it. And there's no way around it. I searched hard to see if there's a way to block them from doing it, because I don't want it. That's the whole reason for not monetizing. Is we go to YouTube to watch these videos and to support the people that we love on here. And when you click on a 5-minute video and there's 6 minutes of commercials in it, it gets really aggravating. And a lot of people that are uneducated on it are thinking that it's the channel owner that's doing it. And 9 times out of 10, it's not. It's YouTube. They're trying to make that money. Let me see. Paul says, is there any way you can set up a secondary channel as a nonprofit? All right. The nonprofit here in Florida, we looked into it. We're not allowed to do it because it is considered a business, and Social Security won't allow me to do that. And for a nonprofit in Florida, you got to have a board, like a chair board or something, and it has to consist of so many members and all their information, Social Security numbers, if they have tax identification number, all that has to be turned in. And it takes several people. I think the number was 10 people in order to set up a nonprofit to be legit. And like, we can't go out and ask for donations legally. And that's the reason, if you ever hear me, when we do get in a pinch that we have to have funding to cover vet bills, which has been a couple times that I've had to come on here and ask, I don't ask for donations. We word it to where more or less on the lines of, if you'd like to contribute to the goats, meaning if you want to purchase something for the goats, or you want to send the money for me to get something for them, because we can't ask for donations. And the laws are strange. They fuss, and if you mistreat an animal, they'll charge you and put you in jail, slap you on the hand, nothing major. And they push that issue really hard. And if your neighbor don't think you're caring for your animals right, they can have your animals taken away. But if you try to receive donations to help you support animals that, you can have 2 dogs that belong to you, and it's no problem feeding and caring for 2 dogs, but one of them gets hit by a car and has to have a $4,000 surgery. Most of us can't flip that kind of money, and you have to ask for help. If you love that animal and want to save them, you've got to get help. If you're not set up nonprofit, you can't ask for help. It's crazy how they've got the system runs. It is not intended for the honest man, and that's just my views on it, my opinion on it. So don't follow me on that. Brother Avy, it's good to see you. Always good to see Avy. One of these days, I'm gonna get Avy to come on with me. We had a pretty interesting conversation several months back, and I'm gonna have to call him again. Northern Michigan Bigfoot says they could put commercials of mine too, so I monetize it. Now I'm having to draw every month subscribers win it. So what do you? I guess so. You're taking whatever money you're making off the monetization, and then you're letting subscribers do a drawing to win that each month. Is that what you're doing? That is amazing. Juanita, it's good to see you. I just happened to see your name in there. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't. Guys, if I missed any of you, I apologize. I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. I'm kind of single track. Haven't always been that way, but I'm okay with it now. I just don't get as much done. Oh wow, I'm gonna put this up on there. This is this is amazing. Look at what he's. Whoa! Oh, that was me. I'm sorry about that. I'm gonna flip the camera over. Northern Michigan Bigfoot. He says they put commercials in his channel too, so he monetized the channel. And each month he has a drawing uh, for his subscribers, and one of the subscribers win the money that he's made off monetization for that month. That's amazing. God bless you. That is wonderful. And you are probably the only person on YouTube doing that. And praise God for good people. That is amazing. I've never heard of that. Wow, that is awesome. Yeah, Paul, you guys may think this is a joke what he's put on here, but there's some validity to this. And as far as getting donations, like he says, there's got to be a way. Like the kids in the foreign countries, 63 cents a day, but maybe use kids, the goats, instead of advertising to help the kids. So many cents a day, do it for the goats, and that's a wonderful idea. Paul, thank you so much. I absolutely like that idea, and I have not thought about that. That's never crossed my mind. Wow. Oh, there's Riker. I was wondering if you'd stop in. Yeah, I apologize for bringing this up so late. There ain't no sleeping for me anytime soon. I'm it's like I've had too much caffeine. I'm kind of shaky, and I haven't. And maybe because I haven't eaten anything at all today. I haven't even stopped. I finally got finished up a little while ago, right before I decided to go live. Yeah, Paul, I see that, brother. Absolutely. I know you're serious, and that is something I'm definitely going to look into. Because, it wouldn't take much. And with the animals, it doesn't take much to feed them. Now, the hay that I had to get today, the farm we normally get it from, we get big rolls of hay. They're 1,300 pounds average, and they're considered to be a 4.5 by 5. 4.5 feet by 5 feet is the measurement of the roll. Well, the farmer that we get it from, he's sold out of hay, and so I had to go to a feed store, a local feed store. They're 4 by 4 rolls they sell. They're between 600 and 700 pounds. They're very small rolls, and they are $55 a roll. And it cleaned us out. $110 to get 1,200 to 1,400 pounds of hay. Where normally we're getting 2,600 pounds of hay for 80. But until the rain stops, the farmer that we deal with, he can't cut his fields. Everything's wet and muddy, and he has to have a few dry days where he can go and cut it. And then the hay lays there for a couple of days to dry out. Then they'll kick him into windrows, and then they'll bring the baler over and bale it. He's got to have um, at least a week and a half of dry weather, and we have not had that recently. Um, oh, that's neat. What Gene says, I'm going to throw this up there. That's interesting. She can't buy raw farm items where she's at, like eggs and milk and such. So we buy shares in the animals. It's our country, our world is going nuts. Things are changing, and just like Miss Jean's saying right here, we're having to do extremes that we've never had to do before in order to survive. Yeah, Paul's saying he's sure the goats could have more than one donator, and there's got to be. I wish I'll have to rack my head on. You guys could help me try to figure that out. I got to do it in a way that I'll be legal, but I won't be required to report it, and I don't know how to do that unless I put it in someone else's name. But um, that he's got a point. To get you get your friends and family, to chip in. I mean, if you get $2 a month from a few people, that little bit helps. I mean, it helps a lot more than what you realize. And we have moved the goats over to hay only. We do give them treats and animal cookies and um, the gummy bears and licorice. We will always give them their treats, but we had to take the grain away because of the problems we were having with urinary calculi, which is caused from grain. And we didn't want to lose any of the goats. We've had to have a few emergency surgeries due to urinary calculi. And it's very painful for the animal, and it's very painful for your wallet. They are not cheap on doing them. Uh, yeah, Carl, I'm gonna put your comment up there, uh, and I gotta figure a way to do this. And the way it's set up on YouTube, what you're saying here, could you offer memberships for so much monthly, like Bigfoot Odyssey and Hidden Existence do? Your channel has to be monetized on YouTube to be able to do that. But there's got to be more than one way to do that. There may be a way to do it without going through YouTube. When you do anything through YouTube, they get even if you monetize legally, they get a very large portion of the money that people send to you. And I have friends that have channels that are monetized, and if they do a live show and people contribute, say $400 or $500 to help them and support them, out of $500, YouTube ends up with about 200 of it. That's their cost for allowing you to monetize your channel. And it's crazy, but it's we live in a world of greed. You go out and work your hard as you can. You break your back to make a living for your family, and Uncle Sam wants his percentage of the money that you earn, and it burns me up. You pay him so you can go out and work and support your family, and then when you go to pay for your power bill or your water bill, or you go to buy groceries, then you got to pay him tax on that also. We're being taxed really hard, and people say Florida is a low tax state. It is. For state tax, it's really low. But you get taxed when you work, you get taxed when you buy stuff. Anything you do that includes the transfer of money, you're going to pay Uncle Sam in order to give your money to somebody else. And it gets a little aggravating. Yeah. Paul says any extra money could go to the GOAT College Fund. Yeah, amen to that. We have to figure out a way. Right now, when um, we've had a lot of you guys do help us out often, and normally it's through Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo, and that's the cards that we use anytime we get feed or anything in regards to the goats. I normally use the Cash App and the PayPal are the main two that we use. But any funds that come from our family here on YouTube, you guys, it goes toward the goats. We don't use anything. I've had several people want to send money in the past so that I could buy thermal cameras and all this really nice gear to do the Bigfoot investigations, but I am not a Bigfoot investigator, and I don't want nobody sending any money for me to do that. If they want to get a camera for filming the goats and doing what we do with the goats, then absolutely, I'm all for that. But the Bigfoot thing, I like being in the woods and finding the evidence of where they've been and share that to try to wake some of these people up that are unaware that these things are real and they exist and they're dangerous. And that's the whole reason I do that. Thought I seen. I'm getting a little behind, guys. Oh, Kathy, brother Mark, Livewire. So good to see you guys. I'm trying to get. I got behind a little bit. Yeah, Paul, you're right. YouTube would be the way to get it out there. Try to figure out something. Jean says the idea to adopt a goat, and she's mentioned that to me before. And Kim and I have thrown it around a little bit about the adopt a goat program, and we tried to look up on how to do that, and it's confusing for me. It don't take much to get me confused. Taylor says, "How about a GoFundMe goat?" That's an idea. That is definitely an idea. And Paul says using YouTube as a way to get the message out. Yes, absolutely. And Carla likes the idea of adopt a goat. I got to figure out how to do that. Yeah, Livewire, our brother Mark says YouTube sent him an option to get super stickers and such. And he said that he would get 70%. And that's what I just seen brother Jeff posted, that YouTube charges 30% of whatever you make through the live chats when people contribute. And I sent a message to one of my friends that has a channel. He does a lot of the live streams and does the super stickers, and I don't know how all that works exactly, but I'd mentioned to him about just getting his PayPal or Cash App, Venmo, or whatever other options are available, and just put them in the description of his videos. That way, YouTube's not getting your money. You know what people are sending to you. It's not fair if the person sending it, knowing that every $10 they send, $3 of their money is going to YouTube. That person didn't want that. That person wanted that 10 going to the people that they love and support. And that's why the owners of these platforms are so filthy rich. Yep, Kathy, absolutely. Kathy Thompson says go and get the PayPal, and we use PayPal, and I think I actually put mine. I usually put them in the descriptions. Some videos I don't. I follow my gut, which I believe is Holy Spirit talking to me, like He does all of us. And sometimes when I put a video up, I copy and paste. I got a little thing for people that have had encounters or want to reach out to me, and I'll copy and paste it in the description. I'll put a description to the video, and then I'll copy and paste that below it. And some videos, I get a really overwhelming feeling not to put that in that video. And if you go back to my past videos, some of them don't have the PayPal link or the Venmo or the Cash App. And the reason, it's not because I forgot to put it on there. Normally it's because I got a feeling in my gut that I'm not supposed to put it on that particular video, so I don't. Let's see, where we at? If you scroll down, on my end, if I scroll down the comments a little bit, it'll all of a sudden speed down to the very last one that just got posted, and then I have to go back up, figure out where I was. Flat Rock Booger, good to see you. Where we at? Yeah, Roger says too many GoFundMe's. They are out there for everything. Absolutely. Such a hassle for so little. Livewire says he just demonetized all of his videos. A lot of people are doing that, and it's I don't know why they're doing it. I know why I would. I would get very ill about YouTube taking it. YouTube, all they do is provide the platform. We're the ones that have to go out and get the footage, edit the footage, put it all together, get it uploaded. We're doing all the work, and then they get 30% of whatever people send to help you, and it impacts you. It does. If you it don't sound like much on a dollar, but look at some of these channels that are pulling, $1,500, $2,000 a live show. Look at how much of that money, $2,000. That's what, $600 that YouTube gets out of that. That's a pretty hard hit for people that are living off of what they make on YouTube. And then they got to pay tax on top of that. So that in reality, they're only getting probably 35% of what they make, and that's hard. Oh, thank you, Linda. Yep, we absolutely love our goats. Coin Digger, I didn't see you in there just now. I'm sorry. Sorry if I overlooked you. Or overlooked anyone. I absolutely did not do it intentionally. I'm really behind. Yeah, are you guys able to see the light in behind me? I seen somebody on the chat scrolled up on me too fast and I missed it. Somebody seen the heat lightning, I believe. It's going on crazy behind me right now. Every now and then it gets really bright and it flashes on the screen. And a little while ago it scared me. I thought it was a flashlight. Mark says he's got 99 problems. Bigfoot is not one of them. Amen to that. Kevin Parker, it's good to see you, Kevin. Always good to see you. Yep. Paul says his guts have never been wrong. If everyone would follow their gut instinct, there'd be a whole lot less trouble for the world in general. And Flat Rock Booger says the big guy is an issue where he's at. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I seen where Jeff just put it in the comments. He said, Donnie sure made a believer out of me the first time I ever walked into the woods with him. He is a cryptid magnet. Yes, one of the things Jeff and I were talking earlier, right before I brought the show online, and he was saying how the very first time that he and I went in the woods together, we had activity. We weren't in there 15 minutes and stuff started. We got growled at the plum tree, and we ended up leaving. That was bright. And then we ended up seeing that werewolf thing, and then all the big guys started surrounding us. That was a scary evening. It got dark on us when we were out there and we were trying to get back to the truck. But yeah, one of the things, like I told Jeff, and I don't like it, but it's like there's so much drawn to me. Supernatural things, these cryptids or whatever they are, for some reason they're drawn to me. And I don't like it at all. I just I have no desire to have that stuff around me. But it's been like that as long as I can remember. But it's always been the paranormal stuff, and then some other bizarre things. It wasn't the Sasquatch until 2011. That's that first encounter kind of started it. But I've had a lot of people the last few years tell me it's because of my Native American ancestry. And Jeff knows a lot about me in my personal life. And for you guys that don't know, when I was very little, we had, I remember one of the two times it happened. We were going from Montgomery, Alabama to Atlanta, Georgia on the old Atlanta highway. And at night, Mama was driving, Daddy was in the front seat, and I was in the back seat. And a huge round craft came over the top of the car with an insanely bright light on it. And the car went dead. It cut off. And it coasted to a stop. The headlights went out. The radio went out. It went dead silent. And there was just like a hum, a vibration sound is all you could hear. And it happened to us twice. And I've had a lot of dreams of these these gray alien things coming in my room and dragging me by the legs, trying to drag me out of the bed. And a long story short, I have an implant in my left arm. And it's, you got two bones that run through your arm. One of my bones has a 1 inch section. It looks like it was surgically removed, a 1 inch section of bone, and a 1 inch section of some type of metal was put back in place of it. To this day, it's still in my arm. Uh, my childhood coming up, teenage years, all the way up until just a few years ago, I was plagued with the astral travel in your dreams, getting out, leaving your body, just all the freaky stuff. Um, Moving marbles around my desk without touching them. Using back then, I didn't know what it was. I thought everybody did it. I was a young teenager. I didn't find out until 2012 or so that it was called telekinesis. I had no idea. But then I started listening to L.A. Marzulli and a few other people talk about those who have been abducted being normal people. They go through an abduction, they come back, and they have all these what they call gifts, the telekinesis, the real strong intuition, knowing things before they happen. A lot of people, they'll know something's going to happen days before it happens. I don't. Um, I'll know something's going to happen normally just a few minutes before it happens. But there's a lot of weird things, and I don't have any control over it. I don't know how it works. But when I watched that video from L.A. Marzulli on it, I got really scared. And it scared me because of their belief that these aliens are demons. And I don't, it still scares me now. But then, like Jeff was saying, and I have heard several, dozens of different interviews and people on YouTube and on the internet referencing those who have been abducted or had encounters with these, whatever these beings are in these ships. They would afterwards have encounters with Sasquatch and these other cryptids. It would start this lifelong run-ins to these bizarre creatures, whatever they are. And that's exactly what I've been dealing with. And Jeff has been with me a couple times in the woods. We go out and stuff happens, and I don't like it. I love the woods. I love being out there, but I don't want these creatures around me. I don't want them coming up. I don't want to see them. I don't want to smell them, and I don't want them growling at me. It's frightening. It scares me. Um, yeah, we got lightning. I keep seeing the flash on my house from what's behind me. There's no rumbling from it. Thank God. I think it's just heat lightning. But anyhow, that's what the deal is. If you guys didn't know, um, I talked to my biological father. I'm sorry. I talked to the father that was supposedly my biological father. I found out in 2012, I think it was. Found out who my true biological father is. My mother passed away when I was in my early 20s, and my sister back around 2012, I believe. She finally got mother's belongings from Tennessee. My mom's husband was he was a pain in the rear. He got put in prison, and his brother contacted my sister and said, "Come get all of your mother's belongings. It belongs to you guys." And in that, we found all the paperwork of the adoption, who my biological father is, and I know who he is. I know him. But we was always told he was just a friend of the family. And he always showed a very deep affection towards me as a teenager. And I thought he was gay and was coming on to me. And as a young teenager, I was always wanting to beat him up, and my mother never allowed it to happen, thank God. But I never knew the truth until after my mother and father, my biological father, all of them are gone now. But anyhow, I always I thought that the connection to the Sasquatch and these other cryptids and the paranormal stuff that happens around me all the time, I always thought it was what other people have told me from the Native American ancestry. Uh, yeah, Northern Michigan Bigfoot says subscribers don't pay for no commercials to YouTube. They have to watch them anyways. Yes, for you guys that don't know, if y'all have channels you're subscribed to, people that you love and you're connected to, if they have commercials in their videos, if you truly want to support them people, let the commercials play out. If they don't play out, that person does not get paid for it. He may get a penny off the commercial, whereas he should have got 25 cents for it, you watching it. So when you click off the commercials, that person loses revenue from that commercial. I do know that. That was something I looked into a few years ago. Brother Ken, good to see you, buddy. Absolutely. I didn't even see you when you popped in. I apologize for that. I'm looking to see if I'd missed anyone. But anyhow, what Jeff was saying, and I forgot all about that, but it brought back the memory of L.A. Marzulli's videos and then the videos that that one led me to. And people who have had abductions, for some reason, all this weird strangeness is drawn to them. And when I talked to my father, who was with us the night that craft came over our car, I remember mom telling me about it when I was a teenager, and he was not in our life. Um, I didn't talk to him for the first time uh, until 2012, and we both mended our relationship. And he passed away 2 years ago. Um, he tried really hard. I love the man. He's not my biological father, but he tried to be. But I asked him about the spacecraft coming over the car because I remember it like a dream, but I remember what mother told me about it, and I don't remember all the accounts of what she told me. I can only relay what I remember. And he said, "Oh, yeah, that definitely happened. Not only did it happen that time, it happened again a month or so later on the same highway, almost the same spot. It happened twice." And I asked him, I said, "Was I with y'all the second time? Because I only remember it happening one time." And he said, "Yep, you were in the back seat." And I asked him, I said, because I call him Pop. I said, "Pop, was there any missing time? Do you remember?" And he said, "We didn't have a wristwatch. We had a clock in the car, but neither one of us checked it." And so he didn't know if there was any missing time. But he said after the event, they drove all the way home, the remaining 2 or 3 hour drive, and they didn't say a word to one another. It was dead silence all the way home. And I remember the light, and I remember getting home, and the next day, mom and dad were out of the car, and they were talking about the hood and the roof. It was an old station wagon, and all the paint was burned off the entire hood and the roof. It was just, it was all rust and burnt paint. It was so bizarre. But as a little 4 or 5 year old boy, it didn't mean nothing to me. I didn't understand. Uh, Riker says maybe someone in your ancestry. My biological father is, he's from the Choctaw tribe out of Alabama. My mother, her mother was Cherokee Cherokee Indian, and her father was European. And supposedly my green eyes came from my father's side, but I'm sorry, from her father's side. Everyone else, my biological family, they all have dark eyes, and the only trait that I have that's the same as them is I've never been sunburned. I turn very bright red, and I stay this orange color, but I've never actually had to where it hurt, where my skin hurt like it was burned. Um, that I've never experienced. If it feels anything like a burn, I don't want no part in it. I'm very thankful for that. But it explains my overwhelming desire to be in nature. I want to be around the animals and the trees and the soil. I don't want to be around people. I mean, the people we have here on Standing Goats Rescue is insane. This is the greatest blessing that I have ever had in my life. Is right here, you guys. And I'd give anything to, be able to hang out with all of you and just have one big gathering, like a meet and greet. That would be phenomenal. And maybe one day we could pull that off. I'd be tickled pink. Uh, and Jean says she was going to say that they were not dreams, and that explains the cryptid magnet. And that's the same thing what Jeff was saying tonight. And I don't know if what's in my arm is what's drawing them. It doesn't hurt me. There's no pain. I've never had anything out of the ordinary. The way I found it, I broke my hand. When I was younger, I rode a skateboard, and I rode a skateboard professionally for 7 years. And we were practicing we had a competition in Pensacola, Florida. And I was practicing a very difficult move on the skateboard. And I was on a handstand. The skateboard was on my feet, and I was trying to take one foot off the board, balance it, and it's a crazy move. It's really hard to explain. And I pulled the move off, but when I went to put my other foot back on the skateboard and then shift it in position where I can reach up and grab it and then land the trick, the skateboard fell off my foot and it came down, and it ended up, I crushed a finger and ended up fracturing my hand. So Mama took me to Bay Medical Center in Panama City, and they x-rayed it and x-rayed my arm because my arm was swollen I didn't know my hand was cracked. I knew my finger was smashed. And they x-rayed it, and the surgeon come in and asked my mom if I'd ever had any surgeries on that arm. And mother says no. And they were looking at my arm, and he said there's no scars. He's never had an accident, never broke that arm. And which at that point, I had never broken my left arm. I broken my right one several times. And mother said no, and they showed us the x-ray, and they ended up doing an MRI on it. It came back as a metal object. And they said we would like to do exploratory surgery to see what that is in his arm. And my mom said, no, you're not cutting on him just to look. And thank God, because I am petrified of surgery. No, Riker, I don't. My daughter has some of my old pictures. I was in Trans World magazine a few times, and in Thrasher magazine back in the day. And we did a Mountain Dew commercial a long time ago. I don't remember the year, somewhere around 85 to 87, I believe. But I ended up skateboarded had a lot of sponsors: Agent Orange wheels, NMB bearings, tracker trucks, Moto-Built trucks, Vision skateboards, Vans, tennis shoes, Airwalk. I had a lot of sponsors, so I didn't have to buy skateboards. They give them to me and give me a lot of the gear that we wore. It was fun, but it didn't pay the bills. So I had to get out and do something for that. Francesca says a celebrity. No, I'm not a celebrity. Um, I'm just an old man trying to do the work the Lord's guided me to do, and it gets hard sometimes, especially when you get under a lot of pressure and things don't go right. It gets really hard. Um, where we at? Always the Lord's getting my attention, so I ask Jesus, "Can you say something, Lord?" I don't give that to the devil. Amen. Uh, oh, I thought I seen a question on there. I'm trying to find it now. Well, I think I missed when you guys had a question up. Now I can't find it. I apologize for that. Well, shoot. Can y'all hear that? Not. Well, that's the goat standing up. That sounded like a grunt. Night, girls. All right. The goats are looking over there too. Wasn't very loud. Y'all should have heard it. Sounded like a grunt. Hope not. Uh, if I missed your question, I apologize. I seen one on there, and the way um, this stream works on here, I can be up halfway through the comments and try to scroll down just a little bit, and if a new comment pops up, it immediately takes you all the way down to the bottom. Now I can't find it. I seen a question on there, and I can't find it now. If I did not answer your question, please put it back up. I certainly can't find it. I apologize for that. Gee whiz. These bugs are bouncing off. It's not mosquitoes, it's these little beetles. Yes, Coin Digger, Chris and I are doing a walk um, very soon. We were supposed to do it this week, the day before he took his test, which was the day before yesterday. But it's been raining nonstop, and so we're not able to get out in the area that we're wanting to do it in. Um, I've got some footage of the road going into the lease on my phone right now, and the water was flowing across the road like a river. And I could only make it to the shooting house. When I got to the shooting house, it was water as far as you could see. And the boots that I was wearing was the boots that Jeff Townsend gave me, and they're 18-inch snake boots. And the water was about 6 inches over the top of my boot. And so um, Chris's section, where we're going to go out and walk, he's got some strange stuff happening over on his side. It's only 300 yards from where my side is. Uh, my road is, we call it Shooting House Road. 300 yards over is Hubcap Road, and that's Chris's road. And that whole area is flooded. It's washed out. Chris has a four-wheel drive, but it's a dually truck, and it's very, very heavy. And in that mud, it gets stuck. Um, and that thing gets stuck. You have to call a big rig in to pull it out. I think that truck's 10 or 11,000 pounds. Uh, who's fussing? Who's fussing, guys? Where you at? Oh, that's Cupcake. She's gonna run over here in a minute. Thought it was one of the other ones. Um, it's oh, it keeps scrolling up on me. Doggone it. Yeah, Sharon says she heard it. That sounded like a pig grunt. We have two pigs, but they are in the front of the house on the south side, and the grunt came from straight north of where I'm at right now. Good deal. I'm glad somebody else heard it. Juanita heard it too. Good deal. Thank you guys for confirming that with me. Brother Butch, I'm doing fantastic, buddy. Absolutely. Thank you so much for asking. Trying to get, um, just trying to get on top of things. This has been a really hard year, and I don't know what path the Lord's put me on this year. I've prayed over it, I don't know how many times, and I have not gotten an answer at all. And that's sort of unusual. Usually, I think he answers me because I keep aggravating him, and then he eventually will answer me. But I haven't gotten any answer at all, and I don't know what's going on. And everything, the last 3 weeks, everything is just crumbled. And now Kim's father's in the hospital. He's not doing well, and I still got to get the back fence finished so we got to move all the goats into the back 40, and then we got to bleach the yard up here. I got to bleach it 3 days, and then we got to get the cultivator up here and turn all the soil, and then bleach it 3 more days because we uh, are dealing with Barbara poleworm right now, and we have never had any goats come down with that. Even the rescues that we brought in that were really, really infected with parasites, we've never had one with Barbara poleworm, and that's the worst parasite I've ever dealt with. It is so hard. Um, Ian says, "Are you still having the rocks thrown at your roof?" Not lately, not any at all tonight. It's been quiet other than that sounded like the knocking on wood when I first started. I come out here to get everything set up. I didn't know the live stream was running. I knew I'd be a few minutes late starting it, and I was having the knocks over. This side is north of me, over there, and that's where the knocking sound was coming from. Then I heard a cough over there. Sound like somebody, coughed a couple of times. And then a few minutes ago, I heard a grunt and this clacking noise, and it could be an animal. I don't know. I shined the light over there several times. There's no eye shine, and I'm not hearing anything walk around, and definitely have not. That's the first talking I've heard. I don't know if you guys caught that. Sounds like you can't hear it with that truck going by. Yes, the diatomaceous earth, it does work on the worms. It does not work on the barber pole worm. We did check on that, and we do have diatomaceous earth, and we use it. Um, we use it if the goats get mites. It works wonderful for the mites, and it's harmless on the animals. Yes, Jackie, things get heavy. Definitely seek the Lord and ask for His guidance. Amen. Search me, O Lord, know my heart. Reveal your wisdom to me. Words of wisdom, Jackie. Absolutely. No, Ida, we don't have any wild pigs here where we're at. All the pig pictures and the videos I put up, that's from our lease, which is about 20 miles, I guess 18 to 20 miles from where we're at. We don't have any here around the house. We used to have a lot of deer, and they just kind of, I don't know, they vanished. Like we were getting them in the back every day of the week, and then it just stopped. Never seen another one. No tracks, no nothing. Very strange. Yeah, Tammy says that's what Sasquatch do, like grunt and then cough. Uh, I don't know. I've heard the grunts when some of these areas I go to that do have activity where I find the footprints at. I'm sorry, guys. Um, my kitchen window's right there, and twice I thought I seen somebody walk past the kitchen window. Nobody's here but me and the dogs, and I haven't heard a bat fly by or anything come by. Just out of the side of my eye, I see some. Looks like somebody go by the window real quick. It happened twice. There's goats up here on top of this platform, but they're right there laying down. It's two little ones. Yep, it's two of the babies. They're not big enough to be in front of the window, which it may be a flash from the lightning back there. I didn't think about that. That's good. Yeah, Jeff. Jeff says no pig sign on the north side of the property. Jeff has been on the north side with me. Uh, we don't need no wild boars around the house. Them things are they're starting to get a lot of sounds over there again. If y'all hear something, I think that's an owl. That sounded like the front yard. But I keep hearing what sounds like talking on the north side coming from that. I don't know if you guys are, um, if you're hearing this in stereo or not. I have no idea. Juanita said she hears the talking. Uh, the TV is off inside the house, and I am the only one here. Kim and Rosie are in Central Florida, and we have no neighbors. So there's no reason for them to be talking next door. Yeah, Paul says he hears, yep, very faint talking. It sounds like a different language. It's very hard to understand what it's saying. And Gene's been hearing it on and off too. Good deal. I thought it was just me. I kept hearing it, and it's happening kind of frequently now. Yeah, Denise says Sasquatch will introduce themselves around you very simply by clearing the throat sound, like a hem, but in the throat. The tapping are from them too. I hope they're not over there right now. I don't care for the big guys. I don't want to. I don't like them around the house. They haven't caused us any issues with the animals, except for the chickens. They have sure helped themselves to the chickens. They've taken well over 80 birds from us, but they don't mess with the goats. No, Jackie, we don't even own a radio. I don't have a CD player, a tape player. We have no type of music except for in the car. We have radio in the car, but we don't listen to it. Kim has a little headset that she'll listen to music on. I don't listen to music myself unless I'm at church. I'm a strange person. I know it. Everybody loves music. I'm just not into it. I used to be, but when I got hurt, the brain injury really messed me up, and I had to learn to use my hands again. I had to learn to feed myself. There's a lot of things I had to learn to do all over again, and the music, it would scare me. I like classical and I like instrumental stuff. I like kind of the what you guys hear that I put up in the video sometimes. I like that kind of music, but I don't listen to it regularly. He says, ask them to leave and tell them you would like them to stay away from the house. Gene, I have. several times, and I even walked the property around the house, and we prayed over it, and I blessed the four corners of the property with some holy oil, some blessed oil. Um, yep. Margaret says Scott Carpenter tries to reach out and help folks with Bigfoot problems. Yes, he absolutely does. I haven't spoken to Scott in a while. I'm going to get Scott back. He's going to come back on the show again. He's had his hands full lately. I haven't spoke to him in quite a while, but I'm going to get up with him sometime soon once we get ahead and get to where it's a little easier. The more stressed out I get, the more I'm involved with doing things, and I just at the end of the day, my body finally just gives in. I'm so exhausted, I just give up. Oh, brother Mike Stone, glad you made it, buddy. Good to see you. Um, Gene says, I have to remind them all the time, it is the young that will test you. Just keep saying it. Yeah, I absolutely believe that. Brother Jeff says, boogers. Yeah. And Jackie says she loves the gospel shouting music. Gets me dancing. Yeah, amen to that. Hallelujah. Yeah, we have our choir at church which we call them the worship team. Them guys get on fire sometimes, and it's amazing to be there and be part of that. Yeah, what Michael's saying right there, Scott has fought some serious health issues. Scott Carpenter's who he's referring to. He's had it pretty rough lately, but he'll get past it. But he's got a long road to go to get over and beyond what he's dealing with. So when you guys are throwing prayers out for your family and friends, add Scott Carpenter to the prayer list. I haven't spoke to him to get permission to ask that, but Scott's part of this. He's part of our family here, and if he needs prayers, let's send them his way. We all need it, but some of us are facing, especially when it comes to health, need all the help we can get, and prayer is absolutely the way to go with that. When you start trusting solely in the medical field, you're putting yourself in a bad spot. Trust in the Lord that He will put a doctor in your path. Because there are good doctors out there. There's absolutely phenomenal doctors out there. I don't know what that was. Can you guys hear that? That talking? That's coming from right there. And there's nothing there but a sinkhole. Where I'm shining the light, it's still going on right now. It sounds like two old ladies like drinking coffee, the little having tea and chatting. It's very strange. Your Riker says it sounds garbled. It does. It sounds like two old ladies. I can't make out anything they're saying. I can be able to hear it right now. We haven't had the talking in a few weeks, 3 weeks. I think it's been. It started back up. What's so strange on that? If you guys have any of the big fellas around your property, um, you guys will understand what I'm talking about. But for those who don't, our bedroom is on the northeast corner of our house, straight north of where I'm at right now is where most of the activity normally happens. But we'll be in bed with all the windows closed and our fan. We have a box fan in our room that we'll have running. It's pretty loud. And we will hear sounds like two old ladies, just like what I'm hearing now. We'll hear it inside. And it is so clear, it sounds like they're just on the other side of the wall. We live in a brick home. And when I had to work on the air conditioning unit out there, Kim was inside with the bedroom or the bathroom window open in our bedroom. I was 2 or 3 feet uh, east of that window, just a couple of feet, and she couldn't hear me with the window open. And she was sitting in there. And the voices sound like they're coming from outside of the wall or they're coming from the wall. It's so strange, but it always sounds like two women. And that's what it sounds like now. Eugene says it could be because I'm alone and they're wondering where the wife is. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. That I haven't thought about. Jackie says, say something to him. No, I don't want to talk to them. I try to ignore them, and I do pretty good at ignoring them until they start throwing rocks at me. Uh, but that hasn't happened tonight. Maybe it won't, but then again, it might. Yeah, if you guys have headphones on, let me know if you can hear it. I know some of you can hear it. I've seen it in the chat. Oh, Brother Pappy, it's good to see you. It's no problem, no problem at all. I don't hardly get any notifications anymore, and I don't know why. Yeah, Sharon says it sounds like female to her too. Let's see, where are we at? Make sure I haven't missed nobody. Francesca says samurai chatter. You know, I don't honestly, I don't know what the samurai chatter is, but that's what I hear everybody describing it. It does sound like chatter. I'm not sure what samurai chatter is, but yes, it is a chatter of some sort. Yeah, I hope they don't sense my fear. I am afraid of them. You guys that are wondering, we Ruth says fatback's chatter is very common. Most people say it sounds like Asian women. That's what it sounds like to me. It does sound Asian for sure. Make sure I haven't missed somebody. And Denise says she has many cryptids where she's at, and they typically talk when you do, so you can't tell when you stop talking. Yep, I'm hearing it when I'm talking, but several times tonight when I stop talking, I'm trying to read the chat, and then I'll hear it, and it's like they're carrying on a conversation with themselves. Sound like two people over there talking. But if you've seen the area where the sound's coming from, it's a big sinkhole right there. There's water moccasins all around that, and last year I almost stepped on a rattlesnake, and that video is on the channel. I seen a rabbit take off from the side, and then a rattlesnake started rattling right by my foot, and I had no snake boots on or chaps, and it scared me enough that I came back to the house. Yeah, Francisca says she's hearing is more like feedback off of me. I don't know. I shouldn't have no feedback. I'm outside, and the only thing that is tied into the channel right now is just this tablet that I'm using. So there shouldn't be any feedback, but there might be. I don't understand how the feedback stuff works either. Yeah, Ken says the lady squatches are watching the youngins play and gabbing like cackling hens. Uh, Jackie says she'd been very shook up if she ran into a Bigfoot. Yes, amen. I'm right there with you. I'm gonna there's a video going around the internet. It's a channel. It's a young guy. Our brother Kyle sent me a link to the video to check out. I believe it was yesterday or the day before. And if you guys have, if you've seen the video, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's a young man in the video, and one of the videos is something hanging out by the tree stand, part one, and then there's another something about the tree stand, part two, and he's filming. He's got his camera out, and in the distance, in the woods where he's got the camera aiming, you see a black figure step out behind the tree. And then it steps back behind, it hides again. It steps out and stands there. And he's panning the camera, but he's keeping it in the frame where you see it. And he's talking. And then he acts like he sees it. Oh, what is that? And he's got a very filthy mouth. But he's acting as though he just spotted a Sasquatch. And he starts saying, oh, you guys don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my videos and follow me on Instagram. And right then, I told Kyle, I said, my opinion, this guy is hoaxing. This black figure that steps out has got a real thin neck. It looks like a skinny human with a long, skinny neck. And just, I absolutely believe, without a doubt, that it's a hoax. But if you guys have seen the video, the fellow, he's a young man, but he keeps his face covered. He keeps a bandana over his face, and he's not in a crowd. He's in the woods by himself. And I think he's trying to hide his identity. But if you stumble across it, please don't share that and spread it around. People like that are what knocks down the good people who have had bad encounters and are trying to get it off their chests and share it. It's those type people that make a mockery of the ones that are suffering. Yeah, Francisca said she's hearing more like feedback. Where are we at? Oh, I got way behind. Yeah, Jackie, absolutely. I believe that's fake. Gene says if your dogs bark when the big fellas come around, they usually end up dead. I've heard that several times. Other people posting stuff, sharing their encounters, and where the dogs go crazy trying to defend their home, and they end up, these creatures grab the dogs and do horrible things to them. If you guys have dogs and you have these creatures around, please don't keep your dogs outside where these things can get a hold of them. If you don't love the dog enough to bring him indoors, take him off his chain, take him out of the kennel to where he has a fighting chance to get away from them. These things are fast, they're powerful, and I don't think they have any morals. It doesn't bother them one bit to take a life out of anger or just out of spite. From what I've heard from other people, I haven't experienced it except with the chickens. Our chickens were disappearing out of our chicken coop, and there's a deadbolt on the door. You have to open the deadbolt to get the door open. And they were opening the deadbolt, taking 6 to 10 birds a night. And they just about cleaned us out. I think I've probably missed some of you guys. I am so sorry. Yes, Denise, I'm hearing it outside. I'm out back right now. The north side, which is that direction to me, that's where the activity is always at. We've had it on the south side just a couple of times. A few months back, Carrie invited me on a show with Bigfoot Odyssey, and it's been quite a while back. Well, we didn't have internet. I had to use my phone signal in order to do the live show. And this, where the camera's mounted right now, is waist high. It's a platform. It's a box house. The goats sleep under it. And I got a 50-gallon barrel, and I set it up on top of it. I climbed up on the barrel and then right on the edge of the roof, and I got a good signal. I was off the ground, and I was able to do the show. Well, rocks were bouncing off the roof, and then on the south side, you could hear footprints or foot stomp through the leaves. It was a hard night. I was scared trying to pay attention to them because I didn't want to get hit, and rocks are bouncing all around the roof. And before I could even say anything about it, I think it was Carrie had asked if that was a rock that hit the house. I said, yeah, there's several of them. And they're still on the roof. I don't have a way to get up on the roof. Now, this box house, through the years of it being here and being wet, I believe it would collapse if I climb on top of it. I'm fat and I weigh a lot, and I don't want to get up there and fall and break my leg. But I don't have a ladder that'll reach my roof. And so all the rocks are still up there. But I need to get them down. The ones that were thrown at me a week or two ago in the back that were hitting the hoop house where I keep the tractor parked, I thought they were pieces of concrete. It's the same thing that's on the roof here. But I picked those. There's a big one that ended up stuck on the roof of the hoop house, and I knocked it down with a hoe. And when I picked it up, it's limestone. It's not concrete at all. And this whole area, there's a lot of underground springs and rivers. This area is all part of Ecofina Springs. It's a huge network of underground tunnels in the limestone. And that stuff's everywhere. But I don't know where they would be getting it at, unless there's a cave on that north property that I don't know about. I have not walked that property out. It's probably 60 acres or so. And then there's a highway and a gas station right across. There's an intersection right there. And there's a gas station right across from it. And just behind it, a few hundred yards, there's a lake there. And then the entire backside all around it is all wooded. And so whatever's coming up could be coming from over there. I don't know. They could be living on that little piece of property next to us. I have no idea. I don't go looking for them. I don't want to find them. And if I catch them in the yard, I'll probably end up shooting at them. And I don't want to do that. But it's when you're scared of something like I am, these creatures, it would be best if I just didn't see them. And I have seen one with a young one on that north side, on the other side of the sinkhole, a couple of years ago when I was first learning how to do the live stream. And I thought I had a live stream going, which I did. But after I ended it, there were still no views on it. And the following morning, there were still no views. And it never uploaded. And I don't know what happened with that. And I was filming that one. Where are we at? No, Mike, I have not identified what that animal is yet. We've had a lot of people share their opinions of what it was, but nothing really makes sense to it. But I've got a better trail camera. It's a more expensive camera, and it's got a fantastic lens in it. And I've been afraid to leave it anywhere because if it gets stolen, I can't replace it. I don't have that kind of money. And I'm going to take that one out. We've got enough cameras out there at the lease through the other members, and nobody has caught any trespassers on the property at all. And I think it'll be safe to bring it out there. But if I can catch that critter on that camera, we'll be able to see what it is. I think it's 16 or 18 megapixel. It's just a much better quality camera. Normally, that's the only one that I had. It's taking me a long time to pay it off. And when I go hunting, I carry it out there. And if I'm coming to the same spot the next morning, I'll leave it for a day or two, because Chris and I hunt the same area. He's out there all the time, and so nobody's going to take it. He's always out there. But I've never left it anywhere. I'm afraid to put it over here. That was the only camera I had when Mark had sent. He sent me 4 cameras, and those I put up out here, and the problems we were having with the big guy stopped. I mean, it was like flipping a switch, and I left them up till the batteries run dead, and then I took 2 down. I left 2 up, and there was no activity. And then eventually I left those 2 up, but I turned them off, and the activity stayed gone for a long time. And then it just, one night it started. We could hear, there was a thumping. You could feel the vibration through the house. And at first I thought somebody was hitting the side of the house. And now I believe that they were stomping the ground, because that's what it sounded like. Somebody real heavy. If you hear somebody run around your house, someone fairly heavy, if you're inside, you hear that thumping. That's what it sounded like. And I believe they were just over there stomping their foot, because there's a cleared area that we found footprints in several times, and it's 5 or 6 feet from the fence. It's right behind a big oak tree, and it's almost as though they sit behind that tree and they watch the goats, but they haven't touched any of them. Trying to catch up, see where I'm at. Yes, Francisca, absolutely. That was limestone. Yes, indeed. I'm sorry, I'm so far behind. She says Florida is one big limestone. Yes, absolutely. Yes, Francisca, the dogs are inside the house, and they're probably wanting to go out right now. Kim's not here to let them out, so I have to go in a few minutes so they can go to the bathroom. Yeah, Mark, Kerry told me that he had those lights. I spoke to him about a month and a half ago, and he's going to bring them over when he comes. His job took off again, and he had to go back to work for a little while, but then he'll be coming over, and he's going to bring those lights. Thank you so much for them, brother. Thank you. I'm going to try to, I've got an extra car battery that went to the old tractor. And I'm going to try to wire those lights to that, because that thing, it should be able to power them for quite a time before I'd have to charge the battery up. And I got a solar charger that should keep it charged. It's a small one, but it should work. Yeah, Mark has some he has some big infrared lights, super bright, and he gave me some of them. He sent them with Carrie, and Carrie's going to bring them to me when he comes over for the documentary he's doing. Slipped my mind for a minute. I couldn't remember the word. Yeah, what Jeff is, I guess I need to put it up. I keep telling you guys I should. I'm sorry. I don't know why I didn't think about clicking on the comments so you guys could see them. What Jeff's talking about there, I believe they read not only my thoughts, but my intent as well. I transitioned to survival mode, and I know what would have happened to the first one that showed itself. That was the night Jeff and I went out, and we ended up getting surrounded. We had what I believe was Sasquatch all around us. The one that came up from behind, we seen him. And I was trying to film him. It was getting dark. It was almost completely dark on us. And we were under the canopy of the tree. And as I was trying to film it, it was very grainy and dark on the screen. It was real hard to see. Jeff's got some very high dollar binoculars, and he pulled the binoculars up and zoomed in on it, and he said, "We got to go." And he rushed me out of there, and he put me in front, and he stayed behind me because he had the rifle with him, and he just kept his sights and his eyes on that one. And as we were trying to go back to the truck, we had whistling started on both sides of us, in front of us, from behind us, and you'd hear the whistle, and then there'd be a response to the whistle. Then you'd hear walking through the leaves, bipedal walking. It was extremely frightening. And when we got to the truck, it sounded like two or three of them were rushing through the brush, coming straight towards the truck on Jeff's side. And Jeff was hollering at me to unlock the doors, get the truck cranked. And he stayed there until I got in the truck and had the truck running. And they stopped right at the edge of the wood line. They didn't come out. But if they would have stepped out, they would have been 10 feet from him. I mean, they were right there across from us. And Jeff said, when they started coming, in his mind, he didn't know if they were reading his mind or not, but he told them, you step out of the woods, so I'm going to turn you into a pile of hamburger. And he had the firepower with him to do that. I absolutely believe it. Tom, we had the experience I had in Mariana with that night, that ruined my life. Talking to Wes Skirmer, he was one of the first people I talked to before I ever actually came out. Wes was phenomenal in helping me reclaim what they took from me. But even Wes said if Lisa wouldn't have been in the car, she seen it too. She turned the headlights on, and she had him in the lights, had me and him in the headlights. And he said if she wouldn't have been there, that thing would have, I would have disappeared. He would have either killed me or they would have never found me. And I believe that 100%. That thing was so mad at me. And I hadn't done anything to it. I just went to check the traps we had at that area. And coming back, he stepped out of the woods right behind me. And he was probably around 28 to 30 inches from me. And when I turned around, just all I could do was stare at him. I was so scared. I didn't know what I was looking at. It was a horrible experience. And if I ever go through anything like that again, I will never step foot in the woods again. That'll be it for me. Yeah, Francesca said she lives in Washington State by BC and Canada border. Oh, you are so blessed. Spent an unfortunate time at Vero Beach in 2011. My family is mostly now in Kissimmee and Orlando, and I wouldn't trade my weather for theirs at all. I'm right there with you. Florida weather is horrible. If you don't like Florida weather, just hang around a few minutes. It'll change. And we don't have mild changes. Our changes are drastic. Like last year, Chris and I were setting a stand up at one of the areas that we hunt. And according to the thermometer on the dash of the truck, it was 94 degrees up there. We got the stand in place. We had to come back to tie the canopy on it and bolt it down to the top. It's two sections. It's the bottom section, the legs, and then the little box that goes on top of it. You got to bolt to it. And we're going to come back the next day and bolt it down. And it was barely above 40 degrees at 10 o'clock in the morning. It was just, our weathers are extreme. That's thunder. And it's fixing to rain. I don't know if that's thunder or not. Dean says, I can't put a light up here. They break them with rocks, and I can't afford the $60 a light bulb to replace them every day. Gene, I absolutely understand that. They popped the lenses off our lights, the floodlights that we put up. It's almost $9 for two of them, and we changed them back to back, and the lenses kept disappearing off the lights, and we never found the lens. And this went on for a long time. And last year, Brother Jeff come down, spend some time with us here, and he wanted to take a walk on that north property where the activity is, and we went walking around that sinkhole, and he found one of the lenses it was buried. There's an oak tree that got snapped off about 4 foot up, and it was still alive. It was a big oak. It was probably well, big for a small oak. It's about that big around, and that lens was shoved down into the fibers of that oak, and it's still down there, and you can't get it out. It's like it's wedged in so tight, but I don't know how they got it in without breaking it. It's glass. Where we at? Yeah, I'm gonna put this up what Denise says, and I can vouch for what she's saying. Especially with the fairies, I've absolutely seen fairies. I had photographs of them and a lot of video. Said there's many varieties of cryptids. I'd photographed all different kinds, from teeny tiny creatures to giants. Mixtures are not unusual, and there are fairies, little people, and dwarfs. I have not seen little people or dwarfs yet, I don't think, but I have absolutely 100% seen fairies. I had photographs and video of them from a very expensive camera. This was back before I got hurt, and we uploaded them to the computer. And these were little people with dragonfly wings, and they had antennas on their head, but they had long, gangly fingers, 3 or 4 fingers on each hand, and the feet were really long and just looked like they had fingers instead of toes. But these things were probably that long. Uh, I would say 4 or 5 inches long. Most of them were either hot pink or a bright purple, but we had a few of them that were blue and one that was almost white that we caught on video, and super fast. And I never believed in none of that stuff. This was way before I had my encounter with the big guy. And she says they don't like loud rock and roll music. Yeah, I used to love rock and roll music. I still like it. I just don't listen to it. It does rough things to my mind. Oh, Denise Bright, good to see you. You couldn't sleep either. I'm right there with you. I'm gonna have to go in a minute, let the dogs out. They tear the house up. Kay Reynolds, I didn't even see you in the chat. I'm sorry. There's Sandra W. Well, I miss a lot of people. Guys, I apologize if I haven't acknowledged you tonight. I absolutely apologize. It was not intentional. I think I missed a lot of you guys. Where are we at? I'm trying to see where I left off. Family Bigfoot has seen little people and things too. Riker says little leprechauns. I wonder if that's where they got the tail of the leprechauns. I wonder if it has something to do, because I'm hearing so many people talk about the little people, and I do believe they exist. From all the weird things that I've seen, I absolutely believe they exist. And it would not surprise me if I didn't end up seeing one. What is up on the... Oh, that's the kennel. I was seeing these little bars right here, and I thought it was something on the screen. The goat's pushing the kennel over toward me. One of them. Who's doing that? I can't tell. It's too dark. Gene says, Jeff and I believe it, but I have both the forest people and dog men here. Been dealing with forest people as far back as I can remember, and the dogmen 17 years now. Holy moly. Jane, please be careful around them things, especially those dogmen, werewolf, whatever they are. Please be careful around them. My experience with them was not bad. I did not have any bad feelings, but seeing just the way that it's built, something like that would cut through you like a razor blade in a blender. Yeah, and this, what Jeff's saying here, he's referring to that night he and I went out and we come across that werewolf thing. Every detail that day is permanently etched into my memory. God performed a miracle that day, and we live to tell it. They are not my friends, I assure you. Yep, I am absolutely in agreement with you right there, Brother Jeff. Absolutely. You know, that was the first time that I have ever had them surround me like that. And I'm so grateful that Jeff was with me when that happened. You know, things like that people just don't believe. You could tell uh, people that have had numerous encounters with the big guys, you could tell them, you know, hey, I was surrounded by them and they were whistling and closing in on us really quick. And you could hear the bipedal footsteps and everything. And they don't believe you. And I understand it. You know, I'm one of them that I used to have to see something for myself to believe it. But I've heard about so many different creatures, and then I'm seeing stuff that I've never heard nobody talk about. And where's this stuff coming from? I have no idea. Strange land. Good to see you. Absolutely. I like that. Strange land. That is absolutely where we're at on these days. This whole world's become a strange land. Eugene says she's been very careful, and the ones here, I leave them alone and they leave me alone. Praise God. Absolutely praise God. And I'm going to put this up for you guys. A lot of you have already heard it, but for Ken, uh, the memory's a little messed up now. I worked really hard to, I've been intentionally remembering differently because I had so many nightmares over it, and it still happens sometimes, but not near as often. The the breath, he when he would growl out, he'd exhale, he was like snarling at me. And on the inhale, it sounded like he was ate up with emphysema, like the smoker's disease, that gurgly breathing. And his breath it smelled like fermented oranges and almost like an earthworm mix. It was awful. It was rotten. But what happened, for you guys that don't know, um, in Marianna, Florida, off of Highway 73, 73 goes from Highway 90 to Highway 231, 73 north. About halfway down that road on the east side, we were working that property for Sonny Davis, trapping wild pigs that were destroying the crops. And he had, that place was infected with wild pigs. We took several hundred off that farm the first year we were on it. And I had to go check the traps. You set a trap out, you can't leave it for, days and days, 3 days tops. You got to have water for them. They can get by without feed. They cannot get by without water. Well, it was during the week, about 8:30 at night. I decided to go check the trap. I couldn't find nobody to go with me. And I called my ex-girlfriend and I asked her, would she ride out there with me? She didn't want to go at first. And I told her, I said, look, you drive. You stay in the car, because it was in April. It was really hot. I told her, just leave the air conditioning running and stay in the car, and I'll have you pull up to the two trail, and I'm going to get out. I'll walk that 100 yards or so down the two trail and across that next field where the trap is. I'm just going to check that one trap, because the other two that were on that field, I tied the door so the pigs couldn't get into it, because we kept catching the same mamas with babies, and so I wanted to give her time to move out of there before we set it back. Well, she was in the car, and I got out of the car, got my rifle and my kit that's got my snake bite and my knife and just my basic uh, necessities if something happens. I walked down the trail. It's about 100 yards long. There's a little peanut field, and then the two trail that the tractor takes to go to the big field um, where the trap was located. But the car I had was a Toyota Tercel, and it there's no way it would have made it across that little trail, because at the end of that two trail there is a small stream that crosses the water. Hang on, guys. Um, I'm sorry, when the little baby cupcake was crying out. Well, the stream that crosses, it's only uh, you got to step down about a foot and a half, and then you're in a little old narrow strip of water. But there's no way the car could cross it. And if I would have pulled down to that point in the car, we'd have to back out of there. And the sides of this two trail is just a wall of foliage. The wild grapes, the muscadines, and all the leaves from the trees are enormous trees right there, but it's just a wall, super thick. And of the group of us working that property, none of us have ever went into either side of that two trail. It's so thick you can't get through it. And I was walking down the two trail, and I was hearing footsteps off to my left side. And so I stopped walking, and they stopped, but not without taking one extra step. You know, I'd stop, and then I'd hear crunch, and then it would stop. And I started walking again. I'd stop, and it started walking, then it would stop and take that extra step. And I knew, I'm definitely hearing something paralleling me. And this happened all the way until I got to that little stream, and I was a little nervous, and I wasn't sure what it was. And I got to the stream, I got on the edge of it, and I stepped over the stream, and there's dry leaves all over the ground right there. It's kind of muddy. And as soon as my foot planted the crunch, I heard a noise, a pretty loud noise, from the direction where the steps were coming from. And I froze for a second. I didn't hear nothing else. And so I stepped over, and I went out onto that field. Well, I stopped when I got to the edge of it. I got a headlamp on my head. I had it turned on low, and that lamp, it was a cheap headlamp. So each click of the button, it would go red light, green light, high beam, medium, low beam, and then off. And then it would start over. You'd have to cycle through all of them. But I'd keep my headlight on the low beam, and I'd have it hit the ground about 6 foot in front of me, because there were so many copperhead snakes and water moccasins on this property. You cross the peanut field, and that 300 yards across the field, sometimes you see as many as 6 copperheads. It was just ate up with them. Well, I got to the edge of the field, and I looked down, and I thought that was a pig that I heard. I thought it sounded like a mama pig grunting and calling out to her babies, giving them that warning call. And I stopped, and I waited a few minutes to see if the pig would come out in the field, and I was going to shoot it. But nothing ever came out. Well, I went out, checked the trap, and I came back. I got into the two trail, and I got to the little stream there, and I stepped over it. And as soon as I crossed over it, I heard that sound again. But this time it was right after I'd stepped, and I was fixing to take another step, so there was no sound at all. It was between my crunching, and it sounded off, and it was a growl. It wasn't a grunt, and it was so deep. It sounded like it was coming from deep in a well. It was such a deep, bassy, just a guttural rumble. And I was petrified. I was so afraid because I knew it wasn't a pig. And the one animal that scares me above all others is a bear. I've never encountered a bear. And my brother-in-law, who works in forestry, always told me bears stink. They put off an awful smell. You'll always know when they're around. And he said, you don't run from them. You face them, try to make yourself look larger than what you are. You know, he gives me all the tips that I would need if I ever encountered one. And so all that's going through my head. You know, now I got a bear 25 or 30 feet from me in this real thick stuff I can't see in on my right side now as I'm coming back. And he, after the growl, it sounds like a rumble, just a, just a drawn out rumble. And I thought, oh my Lord, this thing's growling at me. And it was sucking air in. And then it did that snarl on the exhale. And I started to panic. This bear, if that's what it is. And while I'm thinking, it's got to be a bear, then the smell hit me. And it was such a putrid, it almost burned your nostrils. And it did have a wet dog smell, like people claim. It did smell like urine. It did have a rot smell to it, like rotted meat. It was just a mix of all of that. And if you remember in high school or junior high, in the locker room, the smell in the boys' locker room of stinky feet and body odor, that was really strong. Well, I got on that two trail. It's two sand stripes from the tires of the tractor. Then right in the center, you got this raised area of vegetation. And the sycamore trees that are off to the side, the dead leaves are all over, especially in the middle. And so if you step on it, it's crunchy, it's real loud. So I got on the opposite side of the road. This thing growling at me was on my right side. So I got on the left side of that two trail, and I was walking intentionally, avoiding every stick, every leaf. I didn't want him to know I was there. He stunk, and right away I knew that there was a bear in them woods. And I started easing toward the car, and the car was up ahead of me a pretty good ways, probably 80, 85 yards at that point. And he starts walking, he's paralleling me. And I'm listening to him growling and snarling. And when he sucked in, there was a rumbly, gurgly, like a growl on the inhale, and then this wicked snarl afterwards. And it was extremely bassy. And he was paralleling me. But then it dawned on me, the steps are getting closer. So as I'm traveling down the road like this, he's not staying beside me. He's coming toward me. And he's getting really, really close. And I can hear him brushing against this wall of vegetation that goes from the treetop to the ground. I can hear him bumping into that stuff. And my heart was pounding, my eyes started watering, and I started I thought I was going to puke. I was so scared. I could hear my heartbeat in my ear. It was pounding so hard. And then he steps out of that wall of foliage behind me. And when he stepped through that stuff, I stopped. I knew he was on the path and he was behind me. And I thought he was, 15 or 20 feet behind me is what it sounded like. And I just froze. And I was looking at the car. I could see the moon was out, but the trees are really tall beside the road, and the moon was to my left. It was over the trees, so I was in just solid black shadow. But I could see the moonlight reflecting on the front bumper and the beauty rings on that Toyota Tercel. I could see the reflection, but I could also see the peanuts out in the peanut field behind the car. I could see through the windshield. I could make out Lisa's outline in the driver's seat. I could see her moving around. She's listening to the radio with the car running. but it was, I'm 60 yards from the car. There's no way I could have made it. I can't run. Physically, I cannot run. And there was just no way. And I've got a 7mm short magnum in my hands. I turned the safety off. I got my finger on the trigger, and I got the gun. I don't know if you can see me. Try to stand up a little bit, but I'm holding it, and I got it clenched. The barrel's up here, and I got the trigger against my chest, and all I got to do is lay it down and squeeze off. Well, finally, I'm trying to turn. The ground's shaking. I'm hearing this growling, this nonstop growling and snarling, and then I'll hear a thud, and the ground would shake. I'd feel it through my boots, and this kept happening. And finally, I tried to turn. I can't turn my head, so I have to twist my body. And I twisted as far as I could, and it wasn't enough to see behind me. So I had to take my feet, and I have to shift my feet over a little at a time and kind of rock on my heel to get to where the front of my body was facing the woods on my left side. And then I twisted at the waist to see this bear that was behind me. And when I was coming down that road, you can see the peanuts in the moonlight. You can see the lime green. The whole field's lit up. When I turned around, I couldn't see the peanuts. Everything's blacked out. And I thought I was going to pass out. It felt like my vision went. That's why I couldn't see the peanuts. Everything's black. My heart's racing. I got this awful stench around me. And now my headlamp is still on. It's on low, but I got it. It's angled down. And when I turned, I could see texture, but I was not seeing green. And I could not understand what I was seeing. It didn't make sense to me. And then he growled again, that snarling growl. And I realized it wasn't coming from 20 feet behind me. It was coming from straight up, like over my head. And so I leaned back. And when I did, the headlamp hit him like off to the side of his chest, but it lit him up. It lit up his face. It lit everything up on it. And then I realized, he's right there. Right there on top of me. And he had his fists clenched, and he had his arms, like his elbows to his side, and he would sling his fists to the ground, and he'd stomp his foot, and it shook the earth I was standing on, the ground. I could feel it through the ground. It was so intense. But he'd swing them fists down, and I was so close to him, the wind coming off his hands would blow the hair. I had a really long beard back then. It would blow the hair on my beard and the hair on the side of my face. I'd feel it move. And he'd snarl, and that breath and his spit and everything was hitting me all in the face. And if I wouldn't have been so afraid, I would have threw up. It was awful. But he kept doing that, and he was so angry. But the top of my head on him, he was, you can't explain that mass, how big that is to someone. It's so difficult to put into words. This thing took up this whole trail. I don't know how wide he was, probably 3 or 4 feet, but I couldn't see the peanut field at all behind him. He took up the whole path. But when I finally looked back at him, my head was, I didn't see a belly button on him, but if he would have had one, my head was between his belly button and the bottom part of his chest was where the top of my head was. And he was staring at me and had this just awful, wicked, not a grin, but like a grimace on his face. His mouth was open. I could see his teeth. I could see his tongue. And his teeth looked like a human's teeth. They were square. He didn't have the big canine dog teeth. He didn't have none of that. He had people teeth. And it looked like a caveman. And in my mind, I was seeing a caveman. And finally, the fear consumed me so much. My knees were shaking, and I kept swallowing puke. And finally, I figured to turn around. I can't face him. I was too afraid to shoot him. I was so close to him. when I turned with the rifle barrel, the way it was laying, the angle it was at, if I would have pulled the trigger, I would have probably hit him high on the shoulder, high in the chest right there on his right side. And I turned back toward the car. I didn't know how I was going to get out of it and away from him. And he still was growling, still stomping the ground. And finally, it dawned on me the headlamp. And so I grabbed my headlamp and I eased up, I turned it to where it's facing the car. And I just started clicking through the buttons as fast as I could click them, going through all the different light modes. And then finally, the headlights came on the car. And then the high beams came on. And then she started screaming, using the F word, saying F and run, F and run. And she was yelling. Well, he's still behind me, stomping and growling. And then when she started blowing the horn is when he took off. And he took off. He came from my right and he took off to the left. Just, it sounded like he was mowing 6-inch trees over. He was breaking everything in his path. And I got to the car, and the whole time walking, it felt like he was right behind me, following me. My brain was so shocked by it. I had convinced myself he was following me. He wasn't. I heard him leave, but I was too scared to look back. I got to the car and I opened the door and I said, "Did you see that bear?" Because I thought maybe it was a bear, and he was so close I wasn't seeing him right. And she said that wasn't no effing bear. And I said, what was it? And she said that was a man. And I almost fell out. It scared me so bad. She said he was growling and hollering at you. She heard it in the car with the windows up and the air conditioning on. And I know she had the radio on. She had to have, because I could see her, through the windshield. It looked like she was dancing. But she heard it. She heard him growling, that snarling. And I didn't tell her about him stomping the ground and slinging his fists. And she said he had them fists balled up, and he would sling them fists at you and was stomping his foot. And right then, that was all the confirmation I needed. That was what I experienced, and that done it for me. I had multiple hog traps on that property. We had tower stands, hunting stands. They're anywhere from $1,400 to $2,200 a piece. Several climbing tree stands are out there. A few lock-on stands. I had a pack full of hunting gear at one of my lock-on stands in a waterproof survival pack, and I left every bit of it. I never went back. And last year, I think it was last year, one of the guys that worked that property with me, him and I were hunting together on the river here. And he brought me home one day, and out front I said, William, I seen something over there at Sonny's place when we were over there hunting. That's why I never went back. And he says to me, "You seen a Sasquatch?" And now he's much older than me by a long shot. And it kind of took me off guard. And I said, yeah, that's absolutely what I seen. I said, "How did you know that?" Because up to that, I never said nothing to him about it. And he said, because me and Brian and Goldilocks, this other guy, we called him Goldilocks, they all ran into him at different times out there. And he actually, Russell, the guy we call Goldilocks, he chased Russell. And Russell was running, loading his gun, and he come out of the swamp on the peanut field, and he spun around and dropped to his knees. And he got to the edge of the field and roared at him, then turned and went back in. And when he got to the truck, he told Brian and William, he said, "I put every bullet I could fit in that rifle, and I was going to put every one of them into that thing except for one. And that one was for me." And he said if it would have kept coming after I put all them rounds into him, I was going to shoot myself with the last one, because he ain't going to tear me apart. And what got me over that was them guys never told me. None of them ever told me. They just quit going. And I thought it was because of work. I kept going out there by myself at night. And some nights I stayed till the sun went up. walking them swamps down in the woods around there, and I heard the screams in the house, but I never even heard of Bigfoot. I never heard of Sasquatch, any of it. And I thought it was owls or them big boar hogs fighting. It was so loud, so intense, way down in the swamp, and I never heard of nothing else. I didn't know, it could have been, but anyway, that's what happened that night, Ken. Um, there were a lot of details that are like originally, I remembered him being black, and then last year I was thinking about it. I had a dream about him actually, and he was trying to kick the doors into our house to get to me. And that morning I told Kim about the dream, and I was thinking, before I told her about it, I was on the couch drinking my coffee, and I was thinking about it, the encounter that night. And I remember him being mostly red and black, like a orangey color. And I just, I don't know. I don't know if he was really black or if he was red. I can't remember him, but yeah, Jackie, I called him caveman. That's what he looked like. And I seen his feet, I seen his entire body, and it was absolutely a male. Um, his feet were huge, but they fit his body. They were right for, his size. And it's almost embarrassing to me personally using the name Bigfoot. It just doesn't sound right to me. I've seen several since then. That's the only bad encounter I had, was that one. I've seen them a lot, and if I see them, it does scare me, but not as bad as when they turn and look at me. And for some reason, they always know where you're at. If you see one at 100 yards off, if he's crossing the path in front of you and you're in camouflage, sitting in the bushes, he will stop in the middle of that path and turn and look directly at you. And I don't know how they know where you're at, but they know. Somehow they know. Um, but there, guys, I know I missed a lot of these questions, and I absolutely apologize. I can't read the comments and talk at the same time. I get very lost mentally, and I'll get all over the place. Yeah, Jackie, I did have a rough time with that. That was 2011, and it was several years before I'd ever even go back to hunting again. And I had to kind of creep into it. The most help I got to where I could get back in the woods was from Wes with Sasquatch Chronicles and Miss Lynn from Bigfoot Case Files. They were a huge help in me reclaiming what these things took from me. That encounter took a large part of my life from me. I hunted the entire hunting season, and I live off the land. And there were several years I wouldn't go anywhere near the woods because of that. And I even got rid of my firearms, my bows. I got rid of everything I had. And I'm hunting again now. I'm out of the woods before it gets dark, unless if I'm with Chris or Jeff or somebody that I trust and I know without a doubt they can hit what they're aiming at, and I'll stay a little bit past dark, but I don't want to be out there long. But I will not be out by myself when it's dark. Jackie, that happened in 2011. It was April of 2011. Yeah, Denise says that was a bear man. They have a real connection to the trees. Oh, there's Barbara. I didn't see you, Barbara Conrose. I'm sorry. How are you doing? I'm making sure I didn't miss anybody. Yeah, Flat Rock Booger. He said he personally knows that shock. And there's nothing that can come close to that feeling. That is the absolute truth. But that's what kind of put me on the mission to try to bring awareness about these creatures. I am not an investigator, a Bigfoot or Sasquatch investigator. I do not go looking for them. If I see one, I will absolutely film him if I can. But when you see him, your body kind of goes into a stupor, and you can't function. You can move, but you can't. It's really hard to think about even filming. I've been filming and had one dart past me off to one side, and I'll see it and it'll scare me, and then I'll try to get my wits about me and try to get the camera on him, and I'm so out of it. It's hard to try to think. Well, I need to hold it steady and then zoom in where I last seen him at, and it's really hard. You forget to do all. It's like everything vacates your brain when one of them's around. It's they have a weird effect on people, and it may be because my fear of them is so intense. I'm extremely afraid of them things. Yep, Wonder Woman, absolutely right. That feeling of just survive. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Lord. Southern grits. There you are. But that area, I'll be more than happy to show anybody on a map where that area is where I had the encounter. I have spoken to several people who have had encounters and sightings in that same spot, on that same road, the same property. And that is, it was all the confirmation I needed, that property is evidently ate up with them. The man I spoke to last year, the one he's seen over there was an ashy, like a white ashy color. And he described it as being about 8 foot. And then they seen another one that was solid black. He said that one was closer to 10 or 11 foot. And it was in the same area, just a couple hundred yards apart, the different locations, but the same property. And I think it was the total property there was 2,400 acres, if I remember correctly. But they do scare me, guys. Absolutely scare me. Where am I at? I'm making sure I haven't missed anything. My vision is getting a little blurry. I think it's because I'm getting tired. Yeah, these creatures, if you have these things on your property, you guys, just please be careful around them. I've heard a lot of people in counts where these things have saved people. They've protected them from, some type of attack, animal attack, or whatever it may be. There's some good ones out there, but we don't understand them. We don't know anything about them. The governments or whichever groups know about these creatures, they're not about to share that information with us. And I don't know the reason why, unless they're connected to the Bible in some way. You guys that are new here, I read an email from one of our family here that's done a tremendous amount of study on the Sasquatch topic. And he found where it connects with Cain from the Bible. And I read that email on here on a live show, and the name of it is Bigfoot and the Bible. If you guys get a chance, if you haven't seen it, click over and listen to the part where I'm reading the email that he sent. And it answered so many questions for me. With you guys remember the story of Cain and Abel in the Bible. They were brothers, and Cain killed Abel. Abel was one of God's number one people. And God was furious with Cain for killing him. And he was going to kill Cain. And I believe Cain talked him out of it or begged him not to. And so God cursed him. And he made Cain to where people would see him and they would know, who he was, that he was cursed. And I don't remember the exact description of how he wrote it, but he says God tells him, you know, that Cain, you're going to be a vagabond. You're going to wander the earth for all of your days. You're going to seek death and you shall never find it, meaning Cain would be immortal. And our brother who sent the email, it's found the link that he believes Cain is Sasquatch because through his research, it all makes sense. You have to listen to that email. I cannot word it from memory. My memory is not very good. But the Cain is still walking the earth would explain how many people have shot a massive Sasquatch with unbelievable firepower, and he just turns around and walks away, and they don't find anything. You know, other people have killed him, but he would have a bloodline of his own, and that would explain the DNA that people have turned in, where the Sasquatch DNA has the paternal side of it. The mother is a human and the father is unknown. And it's so much of it just lines up. And I do believe that there's a lot of credibility to that claim. And for the time being, unless something else comes up, I'm sort of leaning towards that too. But, you know, I had different beliefs before and something changed those beliefs. And right now, my belief is that Sasquatch are they're like the remnants of Cain. They are his offspring. And that the main one, Cain, is still here. If God were to curse him, where he would seek death and never find it, that right there tells you he's immortal. But that's my views, my beliefs on the cavemen, the Sasquatch. They do scare me. Even the smaller ones I've seen. There's only been a couple that I've seen that were really big. Most of them, the other ones, I've probably seen them between 7 and 9 times. I'm thinking not a whole lot of times. Normally it would be a glimpse of one going through the bushes, and they move really, really fast. Even through that thick mess, they make a heck of a noise, but they move fast through that stuff. And a lot of them are in like the 6-foot range, like human size, but they're just much bulkier. And they all don't stink. I've only smelled them a couple of times. I've had a lot of bad smells out in the woods, but I didn't see anything to verify where the smell came from. It could have been anything. Could have been a different animal. It could have been a dead animal. I don't know. Jackie says, what was that sound? Some of the goats right now are kind of whining. You hear a little moan sound. That's the goats. And then my buddy, the duck, he's over here. Every now and then he'll start talking to me. He's a sweetheart. But I have to fight him when I go inside the back door because he's wanting to go inside the house, and he's never been in the house, but he wants to go. Kim's been spoiling him with treats and all kind of stuff. And now when you go out the back door, he thinks I got something for him every time. He comes running up and he climbs on my feet. But he's cool. He's my buddy. That's Thunder. That's definitely Thunder. Oh, good deal. What guys? Do y'all have anything that any questions for me that I could answer for you, or do you have anything that you'd like to announce? Do you need any support on your channel? You'd like to get your channel announced, or anything at all? Just let me know right quick. We'll be closing this out here in a few minutes. I've got dogs got to let out. I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing nobody. Stevie B, good to see you. I hope I didn't miss you in the chat earlier. I apologize if I did. Oh, yep, I see that I did. Oh, James Diamond, I didn't see you either, sir. I am so sorry. Probably missed a few people. Jackie, it says, how tall was that Bigfoot? My guess, I would say in the 10-foot range. I'm 5'9", and the top of my head um, was between his belly button and the bottom part of his chest. So he had several feet above me. Just a wild guess. I would say that one was somewhere between 9 and 10 feet. He was the biggest one that I've seen, with the exception of the one Jeff and I seen that night out by the plum tree. That one was enormous. Um, Jeff's thinking in the 11 to 12-foot range, and I agree with that. I absolutely agree with it. That was a lot larger than the one I ran into in Mariana, or the one that ran into me. Wonder Woman, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, absolutely. Good vibes. Good vibes to everybody. Okay, Stevie. Thank you, buddy. I thought I missed you further back in the chat. Dundee Woolley says, I reckon 10 foot. Yep, I agree. Right in that range, definitely. Who is? I just seen where Laura posted, pray that someone gets the negativity off of them. Who is having issues with negativity? You guys, I missed it, and we will do I guess. Oh, Sandra also need prayers for safety for my daughter Savannah. Oh, and her way to get away from a lot of evil and come home safe. I'm gonna throw this up for you guys. What Sandra's put up here now, she needs prayers for the safety for her daughter Savannah, and for her to get away from a lot of evil and to come home safe. For God to put His angels around her, guys. Let's come together in agreement and pray for these people. Absolutely, especially the children, regardless of their age. Everybody in the chat is somebody's child, and we're all children of God. Anybody that needs prayers, just get them out. There's nothing more important that we can do for anybody than to pray for them. The dogs are raising Cain. it's thundering, and it's probably shaking the house. Sanders is Laura's daughter and hers. Yeah, just two more. You guys praying for Laura and her daughter Stacy from Oregon. Let's get prayers out that the Lord to step into these people's lives and remove whatever is coming against them. And let's, we were sitting here to be glorified so that we may glorify the Father. And the only way to do that is to get the evil and the darkness away from us and away from these people. These are our family here. You guys, let's get some prayers out for everybody. For Sandra, for Laura, Stacy, whoever else needs prayers. Let's get these prayers out. Yes, absolutely, Jackie. In Jesus' name, we all agree. Yep, amen. Hallelujah. God is so good. We've got an amazing family here. We've got a good thing going. And through prayer, we can support everybody. It doesn't cost a penny. It doesn't even cost you to sweat. Just a matter of coming together and pray from your heart. Always pray from your heart. Everything the Bible says for us to do, you do from your heart. It's not from your mind or from your soul. You do it from your heart. Uh-oh. It's fixing to get bad, guys. I don't know if you can hear the squeaking. That's the hoop house shaking. The wind's picking up. Guys, I'm going to close this out. Thank you so much for jumping over and spending the night with me here. I'm sorry it's went on so long. This has made my night seeing you guys and gals. Absolutely. Please, everyone, like Bama Bigfoot says, stay safe. And all of you guys, stay safe. I love each and every one of you. If there's anything that I can do to help you guys, please don't hesitate. Reach out. If you email me, I got an email in the bottom right now, right here at the bottom of the screen, standinggoatsrescue@yahoo.com. And I'll do whatever I can to help. Can't offer a lot, but I can absolutely get the word out, and we can make things happen through the power of prayer and through the power of love in our Lord and Savior Christ Jesus. Oh, Gene, thank you so much. We love you as well. We love everyone here. What a wonderful night we have. What a wonderful family. God bless you all. Y'all have absolutely made my night, and I thank you so much. Y'all have a wonderful evening, and I'll absolutely be seeing you guys soon. And I should have an update on Kim's father tomorrow as soon as I hear from her. Thank you, Sharon. Yes, good night to you as well. Good night to all of you. And I will absolutely be seeing you guys soon. So until then, always be safe. God bless.